What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Zary, and before we get into the video, I just want to remind everybody, if you're under level 15 and you want $10 worth of free stuff, go to your settings, go to use promo code, and type in XMGGift. You do that, you'll get $10 worth of free stuff. It helps support the channel. So if you're under level 15, make sure you're using that promo code XMGGift. Enjoy the video. What is going down, my YouTube family? It is your boy Zary, and we are here tonight to talk a little Tobald? Tobald? I don't know exactly how you say it, but kind of like Tobald. So we're going to go with that. He is the newest dwarf to hit through the battle pass, so we're going to do his noob series like we always do. We're going to jump over and start talking about stats. He is cool looking though. I like the gun axe, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, first thing we gotta talk about is Tobald. Tobald? Dwarf. Fighter, ranger. He brings a couple different tags, which is good for the dwarves. We have a rogue with tool, so tactician, think with zappy. So just another person to add into that mix. So that is him. We're jumping over to his health. This is all gear 11, remember? No gear 11 pieces put on. 23,348, coming in at 25th in the game. So I think we're up to 77 characters now. 76, somewhere in there. And he comes in at 25th, so not a little bit above average, not too bad. Shield, 24,322, 41st in the game. So he is starting to go down to that lower half there, but much like the other dwarves, they were stocky in health, low in shield. Combination, 47,670, coming in at 32nd in the game. So a little bit above average there, but what is to be expected? Not super beefy, tanky, standard fighter, to be completely honest. Speed, starting at 144, tied for 15th, so that is like 30th, 40th in the game, so middle of the pack. That 140 mark is generally mid of the pack there. Damage comes in at 2908, so almost 3k to start at gear 11. That's huge. 15th in the game. Crit chance, another beautiful thing, at 30.49, coming in at 9th in the game. So he's there to do some damage, and I'm already liking what I'm seeing with the damage numbers and the crit chance. Physical armor, 27.17, 66th in the game. Magic armor, 26.54, 41st in the game. So definitely some subpar armor onto Tobald. And potency, tied for 20th, pretty much middle of the pack with 33 potency. So, you know, that armor's really concerning, especially we already know that AoE damage is horrendous for the dwarf faction. So that kind of sucks a little bit. So we talk about his stat takeaways. Damage and crit chance, obviously huge pluses for me. Health and shield combination, plus and a minus. I mean, honestly, we can work with it. We can make it work. He's not the squishiest character. He's not the beefiest, tankiest character out there. And then his armors obviously are a huge negative here. I mean, those are just atrocious armor numbers. So gear 11, that's rough. It means he's going to get undercut quite a bit. But yeah, his purpose is damage, so that damage crit chance. Even his potency, I didn't want to put potency on here because it's kind of middle of the pack, but it's a plus and a minus. He is going to need it in his kit, and we're going to go over that here in a minute. So let's do that. Alright, so we're going to talk a little bit about his move kit, what it entails, and again, we're starting with level 6, and then we'll go over the gear level 7s. The bayonet attack, he deals 290 physical damage to an enemy, consumes 10 charge. For every 5% charge consumed, he inflicts bleeding for 1 turn. Has a 75% chance to inflict that effect. So, we're seeing a double potency tenacity check, because he's got a 75% chance to land it, and it's happening twice, because if you have 10% charge, you have the ability to put on 2 bleedings. And we saw that Tool has the bleeding synergy in there. Really cool. But you got to go through that double potency tenacity. So we're seeing damage and potency at gear level, or at T7 on this ability. It goes up to a 340 physical damage. That's big. And it cuts it down from 2 potency tenacity checks just to the 1. So it's just be potency versus tenacity, not to see if it applies. So that's a pretty big T7 upgrade for his move kit for sure. And it will definitely helps out Tool as well. Second attack here, Crushing Shot. 450 physical damage to an enemy, inflicts daze for 2 turns, consumes 30 charge. For every 15% charge consumed, it prolongs the effect of bleeding on the target for 1 turn. If the target is not afflicted by bleeding, it restores 15% charge to himself and Tool. So we are seeing a brand new mechanic brought into the game, and playing with a bleed team, he is just amazing. But what this does, he does a crazy amount of damage at 450 physical damage. He's giving you a daze, but then he's prolonging the bleeding. We saw the armor decrease prolong effect from Zappy. Now we're seeing the bleed prolong effect from Tobald, and I love it. I love this move. Really brings up his plug and play viability. And then if they don't have bleeding, he's restoring 15% of his charge. Charge is a hard thing to come by, especially when they lose it when they're damaged. Now this T7's pretty nuts as well. Brings this to a 540 physical damage. And then for every 10 charge, he inflicts bleeding. So you have a chance to put on 3 bleedings. And then if they don't have bleeding, you get 20% of your charge back. So it is insane. 3 stacks of bleeding on 1 move. Pretty solid. Third ability is Emergency Recharge. Restores 20% charge, gains critical chance increase and crit damage increase for 2 turns, and then restores 10% charge to all allied dwarves. Huge. Again, he's the main damage dealer for this team that we've seen so far. He's increasing crit chance and crit damage for himself for 2 turns, and then he gives 10% charge back to all the dwarves. This is just huge for the dwarves move kit. And then the T7 on this, 25% charge back to all dwarves. All of his T7s are absolutely phenomenal, and the best way I could rank them, you know, out of the ones that do damage, is this Crushing Shot is huge. You can put on 3 bleeds, awesome. Then I would do the Emergency Recharge, and then I would do his basic ability, which guarantees the bleed on a basic through the 1 potency tenacity check, of course, but still amazing. And then Focus on the Target here at level 6. For every 2% of his charge, he gains 1% accuracy and penetration increase. If Tobald's charge is less than 40%, he gains 20% charge on a critical hit. Tool gets the same effects, loses 10% charge when upon taking damage, and applies Earth Power to Korador at the start of the battle. So, Earth Power, that's the same. Losing the 10% charge, the same, right? But the fact that he gives 20% charge on a critical hit, if they have less than that 40%, to him and Tool, is awesome. They also get accuracy increase and penetration increase, which ups their damage. Now, this T7 is also very good. He gets 1.5% accuracy and penetration increase. And then if they are under 50%, they get 25% charge. Huge. Again. But I would still do this one over the basic, the emergency, or Focus on Target. I'd still go Crushing Shot, Emergency Recharge, Focus on Target, then the basic. That's the way I would do it, but I mean, you could make a statement that Focus on Target is the best T7 out there. But it's all on how you want this character to play. And yeah, so let's go and check out his move kit takeaways. Alright, for his move kit takeaway, big plus for me is that bleed extender. That is so cool. Brand new mechanic into the game. Really like the way that plays. He provides charge for all, so he's got a little support to him, which is awesome. A negative for me, though, is, don't get me wrong, he can crank out some damage. He can do some massive damage, and I don't even have T7s on him. But he's only single target. We're not seeing too many AoEs. Baldair, or Bordwin, sorry, couldn't think of his name for a minute. Bordwin has the AoE where he puts on the armor decrease, and then Zappy has an AoE where she extends it. He's more of a single target damage dealer, nuker per se, and to me that's kind of a negative, because when you see that damage, I mean, he can cut through somebody quick, and he does damage, but I just wish he had maybe a multi-target in there or something. And his kit, plus and a minus, it's a very basic kit for a dwarf. We look at all these other dwarves and you kind of see what they're doing. He's pretty basic. He puts on the bleed, he extends the bleed, he can get daze. He gives charge back to people. It's really what he does. He's there to do damage. So, for me that's a plus because it's very basic. And it's kind of a negative as well because I like the critical thinking that the dwarves have progressed through this whole shebang. So I do think that it's a plus and a minus. So very kind of easy damage dealer, nuker, bleed extender, looking for a little bit of buffs. So when we talk about runing this character, this is what I'm thinking. You could go a damage times 4. The up is already fantastic damage. You could go potency / critical chance times 2, right? We need it. If you want him to get those bleeds, you want to go potency. If you want him to gain the charge back from the critical chance and continue his damage barrage, you could go critical chance. You could go critical chance, critical damage. I didn't prefer that one, but it's usable. You can do it. You just got to make sure you're hitting those potent or those secondary stats. And when you hit those secondary stats, they're going to change in priority based on how you rune this guy. And then you could go any sort of combination of the two sets, potency, critical chance. You could go 2 critical chance and a potency. You could go 2 potencies and a critical chance. So when we talk about the substats, I'm going to kind of break them down priority, just going to get into you in general, and then priority of kind of what you're looking for when you use different ones. So as far as the substats, damage. No matter if you're putting him in critical chance, crit damage set, or damage with critical chance or potency, you want damage. Critical chance too, because you see he restores the regeneration on critical chance. Now if you went with the 2 crit chance sets and a potency, crit chance might not be as big for you, but you definitely want to get that crit chance in there. You want speed in all sets. He doesn't have to be the fastest character in the world, but you want to try to get as much speed in the secondaries as you can. And then obviously potency. If you want 2 potency sets and a critical chance, potency might not be as relevant, but you want that. And then survivability. You want, he isn't the beefiest character. They don't have a tank. You know, they don't, no defender into the game yet, so you kind of want him a little more survivable. And yeah, so I mean, damage must pretty much in any build. Crit chance, unless you went all crit chance or double crit chance, that's going to be up your priority with speed. And then potency, you want him to get that bleed in, right? And the daze is kind of just icing on the cake, but you can make up some potency with that northwestern rune, so that's kind of why I got it lower. So let's jump over and I can show you how I runed him. Okay, so I went for the damage critical chance. Now to me, this is the best I found to get out of him. I made sure I had potency in all the secondaries. I really liked what I did here. I upped his damage significantly. I got his crit chance up, and I focused on speed and potency and survivability, honestly, in the secondaries. And I was able to get the bleeds to stick. I was doing some really good damage. So this is the build I like. But the 2 critical chance and potency, which is the one they recommend, isn't bad either, but his damage goes down a little bit. Now you're critting more often, but you're not getting the high crits like I was. So it's all on how you want to play the guy, but this is the one I prefer. going over the runes here, obviously we have the damage primary, tenacity, potency, speed, crit chance. So I got everything I wanted in that rune, some survivability, I got some damage, potency, speed, and crit chance. Obviously I want speed in the northeastern rune, I hit potency here, I got damage, health, and armor, happy about that. Obviously armor percent, I got potency, health, speed, and shield, just missing out on some damage here. Now on the southern rune, you could go crit chance, and I was critting a little bit more often when I had the crit chance rune in there, but I like the crit damage. I like the crit damage in there because you're going to build in the crit a lot anyways, so let's up that overall damage because the dwarves are kind of missing that one huge damage dealer. I mean, they all do fairly decent damage, but we want that one like nuker kind of guy, and Tobald could be it. So I got armor, potency, speed, and health on him. And then I went for the southwestern rune. I looked for the best secondaries. I picked up some speed, I got some more potency. The only thing I wish this had is some damage or crit chance, but with the 11 speed, I'll take it. And then we went for potency in the northwestern rune. I got some crit chance, health, tenacity, and speed. So you can tell how you rune this guy is what you want to focus on. And let's take a look here and see what it did to his stats and what we gained here. You know, we brought up his physical damage 628. That's a lot. I'm happy with that. We brought up his crit chance 10. So he was at 30. So he's before the gear 12 pieces. He's at 40%. Now, if I put that other one on, he's almost at that southern rune. He's almost at 50%. So it's really on how you want it. I'm okay with the 43% that I'm getting. I have no problem with that. And then with that third ability where you can give back charge, the charge regain on a crit is nice and it's very beneficial, but I'd much rather have him crit less often than and do more damage. And that's kind of what I was going for here. Brought up his health 20,000, I wish, 2,000. Brought up his physical armor 2.68, his magic armor 3.38. And his shield we brought up 508. We brought up his speed 61. Potency 28.42. So he has 33% potency. So we're over that 50% threshold. He does get more from the gear 11 plus pieces. So I'm happy with what we did with the guy. So we're going to jump into a battle. Now, when I was playtesting him, I did use a Darien lead, thinking, okay, he gives him armor, maybe some survivability. But the AoEs were just slaughtering him, and they really, really need that healer. So as of right now, I'm running him with a Soleus lead. Soleus ups the damage of them all, so that's huge. And then he has the heal. So I went with Soleus. Right now I still think the Soleus lead is the best for the dwarves. It's kind of that all-encompassing order lead. You know, Darien didn't do bad, but it just was missing something. Like, I thought that taunt would help them out, but AoEs just burn them down fast. So we're going to jump over into the challenges like we always do, and we'll kind of walk you through some gameplay. Alright, so here we go. We got the Pride team set up in here, and what we are going to be looking at is we're going to try to take out that AoE dealer in Kagi first. Get that Mountain Fog so he goes under stealth. Get that charge up for everybody. Just keep cranking out that charge. Just do a basic here because that should end him. Okay, so let's cut this down to 1. We're going to go after Vorian. Now he's doing 290, and we'll see what he can do. 23,000 on a crit, and we get 2 bleeding, so that is awesome. Now we're going to put up the armor decrease, which just gives us more armor. Going to extend all that. We're going to give Soleus the cheat death. We're going to go after Boris with the double hit here from Tool. Fantastic. Now we're going to go over to Reval, just so you can see some of the damage here with the crushing shot. Huge. 42,000. Telling you he can do some damage. He can do some damage. So now we are just going to get some charge. Let's use some more charge. So when we start using our basics. I mean, you just did 14 against Salvador. I'll take it. Okay, so we want to get Renara out of here, so let's put Tool under that. Now let's see what he can do here. He has the crit chance increase, crit damage increase, and he's at 100% charge. So let's see what kind of stuff he's going to do to Renara. 32,000 Renaras out of there. Get that armor decrease up. Let's extend that. Let's try to get some of these Boruses out of there. Now let's see what he does for a basic. Right? Let's go over here with the armor decrease. Let's turn it down to 1. 21,000 on a basic. And as you see, those bleedings took care of that back Boris, so that was huge. So let's go for Renara here on a basic. Got 2 bleeding up. Get that armor decrease. We'll just go for a basic there. Oh, hold on, Solius. Yeah, we lost Solius, but that's alright. Let's go for this Vorian the Trickster back here. 46,000. And yeah. So, like I was saying, this guy can crank the damage. I mean, and I gave the single target a minus, because imagine if he was doing that damage as an AoE, it would be crazy. Maybe not that amount of damage, but he can absolutely nuke. He can fly through it and really put a hurt on, because he benefits him so well with that ability, giving everybody charge. He gives himself the crit damage, the crit chance increase, then you get the armor decrease from Boardwin. Zappy extends it all. Then you have Tool putting up bleeds everywhere. The team is really, really starting to come together, and Tobald was exactly what they needed, damage-wise. Now the team is still sorely struggling in the fact of it needs a leader, and it needs a tank, but it needs a healer. Or we could be looking at Pandas 2.0. Because they're squishy. They have armor deficiencies. I mean, yes, their health and shield combinations are great, but when the armor doesn't reduce that incoming damage, it hurts. But the fact that he can spread around that charge, the fact that he can make the charge stay much higher on that team than it was before is huge. Because the armor or the charge was dropping so quickly before until Tobald came in, and I don't seem to have that problem now. So he's addressed that with some damage. I would really love it if one of his moves, instead of like his basic, if that crit, it dispelled 1, because they're going to need a dispeller at some point as well. We don't know Baldair yet. We haven't looked at it. So, but that's just kind of what I'm seeing. But Tobald, however you want to say it, is fun. And his damage is crazy. The bleed extension, I'm going to put together a bleed video like I did the regen video, and we're just going to play around with that. So he's got some plug and play viability. His damage alone, he can crank. So he is fun and worth the investment. So I got him unlocked today on my main account. So I am finishing off Ambo and Lance's gear, and then I'm going over to him. So that is what I got for everybody today. So if you're just finding me for the first time and you're liking what you're seeing, click that subscribe button, turn on notifications, like videos, share them with your guildmates. Don't forget to go to hellhades.com, Dragon Champions, I've updated his move kit with runes already. And once this goes live, I'll be putting this video on there as well. But you can find out about all the characters and the dwarves on there. And I still haven't updated the information on the character bio until I play with them all. So, with that being said, I'll see you all in the next one. I'm out, and I love you.